Hi, my name is Lyndsey Hinkle, and I'm the production designer and associate producer for 1805. We as a cast and crew have put our heart and soul into this making of this film, and it's really important, I think, that more people than just our tight-knit group of cast and crew and our family members and friends see this film. I think it's important that it gets out there and hundreds of thousands of people can see, you know, the underlying content that sort of Dan wrote into this film. It's just so important that be shared, and that you can kind of draw those parallels from what happened back then to current modern day, and how it's still an issue. They're just taking on different forms.
This is not how we run things here on this farm.
Am I heard? Wait until Mother hears of this. She's not so sweet as I.
Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we decided to shoot this film entirely outside. The blocking was scheduled to be, you know, everybody was six feet apart, and from a production design standpoint, we had to try to make that look natural and realistic. And I think you'll see sort of in one of the last scenes in the film how we did that and how natural it did look.
In 3, 2, 1, action.
Not like this.
Better listen to her, boy.
Through a connection, one of my friends, Jackie Walker, introduced me to my very first film that I did production design for, which was Calf Rope, and that sort of led me to the future endeavors of working with Dan on 1805.
How's the day going? How's the shoot? You guys hot?
It's going really well.
Yeah, no, it's a great day.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Easy day so far.
Yeah, relatively, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're making good progress, feeling good.
Killing it, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, these are the people making our movie right here.
Having come from working as a commercial set stylist at TC Studios was also a great asset. Just having that knowledge of camera terminology, and even though this was only my second film doing production design, having that prior background to set dressing and working behind the camera was a huge skill. If you've never done production design or worked behind a camera, it's like a whole different language. So just having that knowledge, even just a little bit, was a great skill to bring on set. One of the important props that we had to source was a rifle from 1805 or prior to, and we actually did that through one of the connections that I made from Calf Rope, and his name is John Carl.
And this is why you bring John Carl on set. Over the water.
And he actually has an antique house where he runs auctions, and he had this rifle in his personal collection. I reached out to him, and he so graciously lent this prop to us. And then throughout the process of making the film, he actually ended up being a really great resource, and he ended up being in the movie, which was really exciting. He is an aspiring actor, so he was really honored to be a part of it and to have his antiques be a part of the film as well.
I should have stuck with that gun.
The knives that we ended up sourcing from New Jersey didn't look authentic enough, though we had already rented them and they were on set. I was sort of showing them around to the cast and crew, and I was like, these just aren't quite right. I really wish I had more time to find something better. And our third AD, Wolfgar, he was jumped up and he was like, oh my gosh, I wish I had known. My dad and I, we forge knives, and they make them handmade, and they are from, you know, the prior to 1805.
Wolfgar, you want to say hi to our producer, Ross, in Los Angeles?
Hello, Ross.
This is Wolfgar. He's been doing some of our knife work. He's also been elevating himself from PA to like one of the most important people in the movie already, and he's just an amazing guy. Yeah, so this is Wolfgar. Yeah, keep track of that. Well, what's the last name?
Wolfgar Ramsey.
Wolfgar Ramsey, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Best PAs come from PA.
Well, that's the worst line you ever said.
They have a company called The Drunken Smithy, and he so kindly went home and got his personal collection of knives and brought in like 13 options for us to look at. And Dan and I narrowed everything down. So we had the axe, so we had the knife that that Bessemer used, and though it looks kind of like a butcher's knife, it's actually a period knife from prior to 1805. So we got really lucky with Wolfgar having that experience and being so kind to let our crew and cast use the props for this film.
Hey Ross, I'm Hannah. I do something with the wardrobe, but I'm excited to meet you. I'm sweating, so I'm very sorry, but you will enjoy it out here in PA. Welcome to Lancaster County.
Hannah Wise is actually a good friend of mine, and we've done several films together. We worked on Calf Rope together, then we did 1805 together, and the most recent film that I worked on as art director, we worked on that together as well. And she is just an amazing asset to any crew. She has so many skills. She can sew. She has connections to theaters where you can get props. I mean, her mom is like a radio DJ, so she's got all of these connections locally in the area. And she's just a really well-rounded, knowledgeable person. And she was such a great asset to our team and crew.
If we can get Jerry, if you can't find a way where they're going to be able to walk shoulder deep, find a place where they can kind of kneel and already be in an embrace shoulder deep.
The crownstone boundary marker prop was, in my opinion, the most important piece for 1805 for the film, in getting that period look that we wanted. In research, it was just a lot of internet searching, a lot of Wikipedia research, but basically found out that the crownstone boundary marker was about 2 feet or all the way around and stands about 3 feet tall, and it's like a solid piece of stone. And I'm like, oh gosh, how are we gonna create this in a random field? And I went on some Facebook groups, talked to some other prop masters, and they suggested foam and using a CNC machine. So a really good friend of mine who is actually local to the Lancaster area, and he owns his own woodworking business. The company is Lirio Design House. He has a CNC machine, and he helped me basically do the design of the Pennsylvania crest and the Maryland crest, and we cut that into the foam and then painted the stone effect after it had been cut out with the CNC machine. So it was a long process, a lot of rough cuts, pieces of foam that didn't work out well, lots of trial and error, but basically we assembled the pieces together and gave it that stone effect, and it looked just like it would have looked back in 1805.